friendly reminder that this is a real ghost horror movie, and that the horror level of the ghostly dolls, Sabrina, is so intense that it's almost chilling to watch it together with your big wronged friend. The story begins when Vanya, a girl, sees her classmates playing the Ouija board on the playground. The board is written with the words right or wrong, and it's said that if you wait until you call out the spirit of the dead, and then ask a question, the pen on the board will give you an answer. They mockingly asked the boy if he would wet his bed at night, but in the next moment, the pen on the Ouija board pointed at the yes men, and they left the scene, thinking that the boy was cheating. But this miraculous scene attracted Vanya's attention, and she allied herself with the boy to ask him about the Ouija board, hoping to meet her mother, who had died many years ago, and who, at a young age, she missed very much. She heard Vanya's pleas. Hearing Vanya's pleas, the boy lent Vanya the Ouija board and taught her how to do it, so that very night, Vanya was eager to do it.
Charlie, please get the mine.
But the next second, there was silence on the Ouija board. Although she was scared, Vanya asked the board whether the soul of her mother was present, and when she got the yes answer, the girl was so anxious that she picked up the nearby tablet computer and opened a software called Soul Finder, and then she started to search everywhere in the room. While she was immersed in the ritual, Vanya was unaware of the fact that at that very moment, there was already a flash of thunder and lightning outside the room, and it looked as if something horrible was going to happen. As the energy wave became stronger and stronger, Vanya came to a storage room and there was a figure crouching in the distance. Vanya was so frightened that she screamed in fear and refracted, and then she realized that the person in front of her was her aunt, Mari. Mari appeared to be very distressed when she knew that Vanya had called her mother by name. She did not blame Vanya for staying awake in the middle of the night, but instead, she took out a doll, hoping that this doll could heal Vanya's young heart. The next day, Mary saw Vanya, free from his usual decadence, standing before her with an odd smile, as if he had already moved past his parents' death. Yet, after Vanya left for school, something strange occurred to Mary. While sewing a dress, she heard a music box play, but Vanya was at school, so why would it play alone? Once he closed the door, the music box started again. Returning to the room to stop it, Mary found dolls on the chairs. She approached, pushed them aside, and checked if the music box was broken. On the chair. But 10 minutes later, Eden and Marbliva suddenly turned and stared at her strangely. Mary was so frightened that she went out of the room and was relieved to see the nanny cleaning the house. That night, Vanya began to work her spells again. Having failed to see her mother's dead soul, she underwent a second seance, and following the instructions of the tablet, Vanya saw a human figure in the camera. Just then, a pair of dark hands appeared from behind her and carried him into the storage room. Vanya was so frightened that he screamed for help. At the sound of the noise, Aiden rushed into the room and opened the cupboard and rescued Vanya. However, Aiden didn't believe Vanya's explanation, but just assumed that he was talking nonsense. In order to punish Vanya, Aiden confiscated the tablet's computer. However, that night, Vanya snuck into his uncle's room and stole the tablet back. The seance let him see his mother's soul. She took Vanya to her room and put her to sleep. It was a lovely scene. The next morning, Mary went to ask Vanya to eat and heard her talking to someone. Confused, she opened the door but saw nothing. She thought it was just Vanya in her fairy tale, but minutes later, Eden and Mary were in a story. Ree noticed Vanya hadn't come down for dinner and was about to head upstairs to check. However, a Fuwa blocked her path. Seeing a Fuwa by the storeroom door, she entered, and the Fuwa followed her inside. A sound came, Mary turned, but the scary doll vanished again. Without a trace, following the sound, Mary approaches the suspicious canvas. In the next moment, Vanya tells her she's passed through a classmate's channeling.
The board called out the dead mother's soul.
Her uncle, thinking that Vanya still has not gotten over the death of her parents, takes the family to the beach to help Vanya heal her heart. But as Mary is getting her prescription reduced, something strange happens. She looks up, and the moment she looks up, there's no one on the beach. Vanya starts talking to herself again. Mary tells Vanya that her mother is gone. Vanya tells Mary that her mother is behind her, and Mary doesn't look back. She tells Vanya in a long, heartfelt voice that behind her is her husband, Aiden, and with Vanya's eyes glazed over, Mary intends to talk to her husband, but then she turns around and a pair of large hands suddenly appear in the sand behind her. The Lamp Lovers League rushed over and saved Mary with much effort. After the attack, Mary saw Vanya watching her strangely from afar. That night, she couldn't sleep. Suddenly, a sharp knock on the door startled her. Opening it, she found nothing, but then heard piano music. In the hotel lobby, she saw a white figure playing. As Mary got closer, she realized it was Vanya's long-dead mother, Adini. Mary was terrified as Adini removed her hat, turning into a more horrifying ghost, and the next moment, the ghost transformed again, becoming even more terrifying. But just as she switched on the light, Aiden, who had been alerted by the noise, quickly rushed to Mari's aid. After she had changed her body, Mari took her husband and hurried to the hotel lobby, insisting she had seen Adini. They searched thoroughly for quite a while, but found nothing. Then, unexpectedly, the side monitor lit up, showing a white ghostly figure drawing near. However, when they turned back, they were unaware of anything unusual. In the next moment, they were suddenly thrown high into the air by the ghost, and then they fell heavily to the ground. Immediately after that, they saw the terrifying ghost crawling towards them in a very strange and eerie posture. The two of them quickly fled out of the hall, then ran to their room and locked the door securely. After a brief explanation of the frightening situation, the exorcist, Lejo, invited Vanya to join him for another seance to ascertain whether the ghost was truly Vanya's mother. After Vanya asked several questions and finally confirmed the identity of her mother, they sent Vanya to her room to get ready for the exorcism. However, after Vanya's departure, there was absolutely no sign of movement from the board. Aha! Simultaneously, the lights in Vanya's room suddenly went out, and Vanya vanished without a trace. When the housekeeper eventually managed to locate Vanya, she discovered that Vanya had been possessed by a ghostly presence. In her possessed state, Vanya tragically killed the housekeeper, then hurriedly ran downstairs and attacked Lazibel with a pair of scissors. Seizing the opportunity amidst the chaos, the two exorcists were able to gain control over Vanya.
I can't help you.
Everyone felt relieved when Vanya's mother was sent away, but then the evil ghost appeared. Unable to fight it, they fled the house. Aiden and exorcist Galen retrieved the nanny and buffaloes from Vanya's room. Aiden used a talisman to trap the ghost inside. Lejo explained to Mari that it wasn't Vanya's mother but the ghost, Bachia, who had possessed Adini a year ago. He revealed that Adini was possessed by Bakia, leading to Vanya's father's death. Adini couldn't be saved after 2 days of possession, so Lero beheaded Adini to banish Bakia. Bakia returned for revenge, allowing Lero and Renan to decide their fate. However, just as he got to the door, he went back to the villa. Neither of them found any sign of Bakia, who, without their knowledge, had already taken over Vanya's dolls and joined them at the Buvava factory. By chance, Mari, while exploring the factory alone, once more encountered the feared figure. Mari had been the first to witness the devil. He shouted for everyone to run, but as he got to the door, he had to flee for his life. They were in the house. By the time Bachir and Galen had arrived, Marley was in the house. The three men had been badly wounded. Archa had grown more powerful than ever, and following a fierce battle, all three men were left seriously injured. Unable to do anything else, Largo took Galen and fled to the villa on the strength of his own strength. Ultimately, Vanya's father and the three, using the terrain to their advantage, managed to control Bakia. Bakia told Laro they were invited from prison but hadn't been paid, so he couldn't return. Laro then delved into Bakia's memories, uncovering events from years ago when Aiden's parents died, and Nord's property became worthless. Aiden, conservative and idle, didn't inherit his father's estate, fueling his resentment toward his brother, who did. Aiden sought an evil sorcerer through hidden channels to claim the estate. Bagia's condition was to possess his sister-in-law's body to live in the world. Though reluctant, Aiden's self-interest led him to agree, and that night, Bagia possessed Adney and stood on the wall opposite a man. Vanya's father was desperate, and the doctors were helpless. It was only then that Lejo and Galen were called upon to perform an exorcism. This exorcism was successful in driving away Bakia, but sadly, Vanya's father passed away as a result of it. Even though Aiden's wish was fulfilled, Bakia did not remain in the world. He seized the opportunity when Vanya called for her mother to attach himself to Bubaba, hoping to find a way to return to the world. When Lejo discovered this, he turned to Aiden with disbelief in his eyes. In a moment of carelessness, Bakia, having found his chance, possessed Aiden's body. The male body is significantly stronger than the female's, and as he lifts Galen with one hand, he throws her several dozen meters away from the house. Immediately following that, Tatsura thrust his weapon into the Wawa. With the Wawa's destruction, Bakia was expelled. Yet, in the very next instant, Bakia emerged within a mirror. This mirror was then shattered by the combined efforts of Lejo and Galen, which ultimately allowed Bakia to unveil her true form. The assault was concluded, and Aiden, who had instigated the attack, was apprehended by the police. However, when Vanya awoke the following morning, he once again saw his mother's back inside the house. Okay, that's all for today's story. I'm Arafat. Please subscribe for our next interesting video.
Tante Merah,